Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanam Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikayastadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Narayanam Gurum Vande Sharanyam Bhakta Bandhavam Gauramanovistam Purnam Radha Dasyam Pradayakam Rupanugacharya Varyam Rupamanjari Preshtakam Patita Pavana Karunayam Yogacharya Narayanam Vancha Kalopataru Vyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tuise Namaha. Shama Sundara Shikanda Shekara Ismira Hasar Murali Manohara Radhikara Sikamam Kripanide Swapriya Charana Kinkarim Kuru Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vrindai Tulasi Devyai Priyai Keshava Sacha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavatyai Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasati Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare. So first of all, I begin offering my most humble obeisances to the dust of the lotus feet of Paramaradattama Shri Guru Pada Padma Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Paribrajacharya Astotara Sata Srimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj Srila Gurudeva, and to my most worshipable Shiksha and Sannyasa Guru Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Ashtotara Sata Srimad Srila Bhakti Vijnana Bharati Goswami Maharaj, and to all Shirupanu Gauriya Guru Varga, to all Tridandi Sannyasis, Brahmacharis, Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis, and to all the assembled devotees here today, my most respectful obeisances. So by the causeless mercy of Srila Gurudeva and all Mahabhagavatas Acharyas, we are able to assemble here one more time. So today we are going to read one very nice article from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur entitled Priti, or love. What is the nature of love? So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur starts writing about the sweetness of the word love. Love, or Priti, is a very sweet word. When it is spoken, a very sweet mood arises in the hearts of both the speaker and the listeners. Though few are able to understand its true meaning, everyone still likes to hear the word. All beings are controlled by love. Many will even give up their lives for it. Interesting to note what Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur here is saying is that no matter if you understand or not the meaning of the word of Priti, it means any word, and especially, for example, the words of the Mahamantra or any other holy name. And when people are chanting that name, they just feel completely attracted by that, and they feel some very good sensation. No, the heart becomes very calm and peaceful. The mind becomes peaceful. Some type of spiritual type of consciousness arises. So no matter if we are aware or not of the meaning of things still have their power to spread. Just like medicine. We don't know anything about medicine unless you have studied medicine in school, in university, then you know about it. Otherwise, you just take that by the doctor's advice, and that is going to work. If you know or not about how that reaction will happen in your body, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And even sometimes, even the placebo effect can be there. You have not even taken the medicine, but just by hearing that you are going to take the medicine, your body starts to produce that effect. So how powerful is the influence of things, especially words. Our whole universe is made by sound, and words have a great play a very great important role in our lives. So now here in the case, this word love, it is very suiting for both the speaker and the listener, and can bring about so much sweetness when we are hearing that. And everyone likes to hear about love. No matter how you understand love, love is always something good. So all beings are controlled by love. To love is the sole purpose of human life. Many think that the fulfillment of their selfish desires is the primary purpose of their existence. But it's wrong. For love, man can sacrifice all of his own interests. Selfishness causes man to strive only for his own happiness and autonomy, but love causes him to sacrifice all of his own interests for the sake of that thing or person that is dear to him. Whenever there is a clash between selfishness and love, love is victorious. In particular, even when selfishness is very intense, it still remains subordinate to love. What is selfishness? Selfishness is to endeavor for that which is dear to oneself. Therefore, it is not unreasonable to say that human life is directed by love. Love becomes the primary purpose of man's life, even when he strives to fulfill his selfish desires. I have two comments here. First one is, he says that when there is a clash between selfishness and love, love is always victorious. But we see that many times people become passionate. They can even kill because of love. They can betray, they can do so many things in name of love. But actually, that's not love. If there is anything, if there is any bad result, it means love wasn't there. There was only selfishness in name of love. So we should be very much aware of that, in the sense that it's not what people are speaking, it's actually what is going on inside. So we see the things by its results, not by what people are saying. They may say, I love so much, but that's only sound, not reality, if the result is bad. And second thing, I want to make a point. I often don't go to that side, but it's important to clarify, because nowadays society is giving a lot of pressure on watching this type of things, checking this type of way of speaking and expressing, which may sound like too much, what to say, how they say in English this, man supremacy, like man supremacy. So in Portuguese we say machismo. Vocês entendem, machismo, né? How do you say that in English? What is the expression for that? Okay, the man supremacy, like all our vocabulary, our way of speaking is always putting man as the representative of the whole humanity, which also have women, and women sometimes they get upset why they are centering in man and not in woman. And here Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he has used this. He has said, man's life, like whatever, but there is a reason, a good reason for that. And that is not actually because of any type of gender like supremacy. It's because we humans, we are coming from Manu. We are descendants of Manu. The Manvantara avatar Manu, he has actually produced mankind or humankind. Okay, so the word man comes from Manu, as well as the word human also derives from Manu. He's the progenitor of the whole humanity, and the soul resides in the man's body, not in the woman body. Woman is going to receive that soul in the form of spermatozoids, and then goes in the ovarium, and then there that small body of with the soul will be able to develop. Does not develop by itself in man's body, but the soul is there. So it is natural to say that we are coming from that man, from that Manu. In this way, it became a common sense, even if general people are not aware of that. But it comes from very, very long time ago. The use of this mankind. Mankind means Manu-kind. Understand? So we should not be upset and make some type of a gender conflict here. There is nothing like that in Vedic culture. Okay, so let us move on. Materialists and liberationists strive for enjoyment and liberation out of love for them. Love is preeminent on the path of transcendentalism also. Those who seek spiritual pleasure, considering worldly pleasure to be temporary, are of two kinds. Those overcome by an urge to enjoy, and those driven by a desire to be liberated. In other words, bhuktas and jnanis, mumukshus and bubukshus, bibukshus. Those who seek for bhukti and those who seek for mukti. Mukti means material enjoyment, and mukti means impersonal liberation. So those overcome by an urge to enjoy are presently either preoccupied with their search for wealth, kingdom, wife or children, or husband, or incubed with desire for the position of Indra or any other demigod in Swarga, or for happiness in the higher planets, such as Brahmalok. Because they have a love for those things, they constantly endeavor to have them. Those who crave liberation have no love for such worldly enjoyments, but cherish instead the desire to be liberated from worldly affairs. Hence, because they have a love for liberation, they strive for it. Love is what the materialist seeks from his enjoyment, and the liberationist from liberation. Hence, to attain love is the final object of both kinds of people. Love is the single aim of all spiritual endeavor. I think this is easy, no? This is clear, right? In regard to love, the Vaishnava poet Chandidas has said, he composed this song in which he says, Priti bolia eti nakar eti na bhuvanasar, e mora mane hoy rati dine iha vai nahyar, and so on. So he describes the meaning of every syllable This word Priti actually can be spelled Piriti, right? So 3 syllables are there. So I'm going just to read the translation, not the whole Bengali one. So the first strophe says, the 3 syllables Piriti, love, are the essence of the 3 planetary systems. They remain in my mind day and night. I think of nothing but them. Concentrating deeply, Brahma created the syllable P. Then when the ocean of Ras was churned, the syllable Ri emerged. When the ocean was churned a second time, nectar emerged, which was prepared into the syllable T. How can I compare anything to these 3 syllables, which are the abode of all happiness? That person in whose heart the essence of these 3 syllables has forcibly entered finds dharma, karma, shyness, common sense, caste, and family tradition useless. It means you're going to become completely detached from all those things. You become pathetic, right? When you fall in love, you become pathetic. You can do ridiculous things that only you and your beloved will feel beautiful and nice. But general people around, they will feel this is ridiculous. Why? Because they're not in that state. They're not sharing the same feelings as you are. So in that sense, so I do not know what the nature of that love is, or what it is its result will be. The twice born Chandidasa says, the bondage of love is truly terrible. This is what the devotees, when they become more exalted, they begin to say, is that, oh, I don't want bhakti anymore. Please give me mukti. Bhakti is too much. I'm going to have a heart attack. All time this, conflict, all time distress, all time problems, these emotions coming like a volcano. You cannot control them. This is too much. How my heart can tolerate? So therefore he says, the bondage of love is truly terrible. How much Radharani is suffering? How much she laments? Oh my God, this is heartbreaking. And Krishna too. He's suffering, he's crying, and he's trying to find a way to free himself from all those, like, we could even compare with the 10,000 hoods of Kaliya trying to catch him. You know, these are the hoods of love, like the snake of love, always attacking us from all sides, and grabbing us, and squeezing and pushing inside the water and suffocating us, and then like so much torture. So much torture. Bhakti is very tough. You must have a good heart and be a tough person, because harsh times are waiting for you. Very, very tough times are waiting for you. So if you still are willing to continue, accept your own responsibility. Otherwise, you can give up bhakti now and seek for mukti. Okay, mukti is very simple, very easy to get. Who is ready to give up? Who wants mukti now? None of you. Oh, I think Braj Kishore wants. And Braj Kishore, how is your health? Are you able to hold prema in your body? I hope so. Must be very healthy and strong and mentally prepared. Baba is a big problem. Big problem. So anyway, jokes apart, objects of 2 kinds. Objects are of 2 kinds. Sentient objects and insentient objects, means conscious and unconscious. Sentient objects are original, whereas insentient objects are perversions of sentient ones. They can be called the shadows or reflections of sentient objects. Whatever is present in an object is also present in some way in its shadow, right? The shadow tells something about that object. Not everything, but tells something. Sometimes, depending on the position of the shadow, nothing much you can say, but sometimes you can, right? Hence, whatever is present within the original, sentient objects must also be present in the insentient counterparts. Let's see what he wants to say with that. If we examine the nature of sentient objects, we find that to love is their soul nature. This nature must also exist in some way as a reflection within insentient objects. Just as insentient objects are perversions of sentient ones, attraction and motion are perversions of love. They make up the nature of insentient objects and are present in every insentient atom. Let us now examine the nature of love. Is it clear? All conscious beings are seeking for love. That's what he's saying. But somehow or other, even the inert matter may have a shadow of that. So let us see. Now let's analyze the nature of love. Attraction and motion are present in their pure form within sentient objects. As love. The soul is a sentient object. So here soul refers to both the supreme sentient being, the super soul, and the minute sentient being, the soul, the individual soul. Their nature is to love. Pure love is found only within the soul. Only a perversion of that pure nature, not the pure nature itself, is to be found within the soul's reflection, that is, within insentient objects. Hence, pure love is not to be found in any material object of this world. Rather, its perversion, which is mere attraction and motion, is to be found in them. What is he saying? He's saying that material objects can attract us for a semblance of feelings of love. Like, I love my house. I love this statue. I love this, painting. I love this flower. I love this, architecture. Anything like that. But this is not actually real love. It is just attraction to some extent. By the forces of attraction and motion, atoms assemble to form objects. Through attraction, objects are drawn towards each other. Also, on account of their independent motion, the planets revolve around the sun. Anything that is present in a perverted object or perverted nature is also present in the original object in its untainted form. Means the whole material creation is made out of these two forces. What are them? Attraction and motion. Everything has movement and everything is assembled together by the law of attraction, right? And even for that, you can, one of the proofs of God given by atheist scientists is about the apparent inertia of the insentient objects. I mean to say, you can take a rock and place that rock on top of the table. That rock is inert. There is no movement, right? Unless you touch your finger and push that, then movement will be happening. You are applying the force because you have what? Life. Because you have life, you have independent movement. You can move the rock because the rock has no life, has no independent movement, right? But when you take a closer look inside that rock, what are you going to find? So many atoms, electrons, protons, neutrons. moving around, spinning around. So actually that rock inside is not at inertia, it's at motion. So if the rock itself is unable to move, but whatever is inside the rock is moving, what can you conclude? Please don't tell me that the neutron has a jiva inside. It's not like, and electrons also, they have no jiva inside. There is no life inside. But how they can move? Because there is someone pushing them. And who is doing that? That is God. So the proof that God is there is because these inert objects like neutrons, protons, electrons, they're moving. They're moving. Someone is pushing them. And that push, that life force, is the presence of God. So in this way, although the nature of the material world is made by motion and attraction, he says, atoms assemble to form objects. So atoms have what? Motion and attraction. They're assembling together and they're always moving and they're able to create life. If there will be no motion in atoms, they won't be able to assemble, they won't be able to do anything. But atoms is not a person, atom is not growing, getting old, getting disease and dying, not speaking, not having devotion. It's not a sentient being. It's inert matter, but still it has motion and attraction. Why? Because of the force of God. The push of God is there. Just as I can push the rock inside the table and the rock will move because of my living power, those inert matter are also moving by the push of God. That's the only thing that we can use to prove that God exists in science. Because that motion could not happen by itself. Because every object by its own tends to relax, tends to become what? Inert, no movement. Unless there is some external push, putting energy in that, they will move. But by themselves, they always will what? Stop and sit, become motionless. This is the nature. This is physics, basic physics, right? So everything is moving because God is pushing everything through. So let us continue here. So independence and attraction to other objects are also always found within the soul. The soul is independent and soul has what? Attraction to other objects. The soul exists in a state of bondage in this world. There are unlimited minute souls, each possessing the nature to love. This can be seen in the attraction all souls exert upon each other. Furthermore, because of their independence, each soul wants to remain separate from the others. Interesting, huh? I'm going to repeat. Souls have the tendency for attraction, but at the same time to independence. So at the same time, they want to join others, they also want to become independent, separate. They want to remain separate. Because they don't want to lose what? Their individuality, their independence, and their capacity of enjoying. Because once you become as the object of your love, then love disappears, right? If subject and object are the same, then love disappears. Why? Because love needs what? Two. The one who is loving, the one who is being loved, right? So in this material world, every object draws other objects towards it. And these other objects in turn, by virtue of their independent motion, try to remain separate from that object. Big objects draw small objects towards them. The sun is big, attracting the planets and their satellites towards it. But owing to their own independent motion, those planets and satellites remain at a distance from the sun and, attracted by its gravitational force, orbit it. Moreover, the planet's attraction and motion also assist them in their orbit. What we see in this world is also found in the spiritual world in its unadulterated form. So what can we with what can we compare this example of the attraction of the sun for the planets? The attraction of Krishna towards all the others souls, especially those who are there in the spiritual world. They don't want to merge in Krishna as well. They also want to become separated, but at the same time they want to keep like a safe distance. So they orbit around Krishna. Who has the closest orbit around Krishna? Radharani. Yes. And from Radharani, you can do one step more far. Then you have other gopis, like Chandravali's group. Then you have also Lalita Sakhi's group. Then you have all like this. Then the first orbit line, this is Madhura Ras. Then the second orbit line, this is called Vatsalya Ras. Then Sakhya Ras. Like this, everyone is orbiting around Krishna with their specific range of distance. Like that. And they all keep what? Their spiritual form always, preserved. They don't clash against Krishna, as we're supposed to see the planets clashing against the sun, because they're attracted by the sun, so they're supposed to clash. But why does not happen? Because there is a type of harmonious force which attracts, but at the same time, reposes. So that a safe distance can be kept. Sometimes this distance can become shorter, sometimes longer, but somehow it has a very harmonious interaction. So the Chandogya Upanishad 8.1.13 states in the reflected creation, there are 5 elements, as well as the moon, the sun, lightning, and the stars. All of these are present in their original form in Brahmapura, the spiritual world. The difference between the two worlds is that in the spiritual world, all the variegated affairs are pure, blissful, and perfect. Whereas in the material world, everything is flawed, incomplete, and the cause of happiness and distress. So, to love is the fundamental nature of all beings in the spiritual world. Therefore, Chandidas, the poet Chandidas, is saying, no one has seen that person who pervades the universe. Only one who knows what love is can attain him. Priti, love, has 3 letters and is of 3 kinds. But when it becomes condensed as a result of continuous bhajan, it will be of only 1 kind. So the transcendental sun, Shri Krishna, attracts the jivas to orbit him. And this is eternal rasa. This rasa mandala, what is the meaning of mandala? Mandala means circle. Orbiting. The transcendental enjoyer of Vrindavan, Shri Krishna, is the sun of the spiritual world. The souls there are his associates in his pastimes. Through the force of the attraction of his love, Krishna draws them towards him. But on account of their own independent motion, they try to remain distinct from him. Hence, while the strong force of attraction drawing those souls near to that sun like Krishna defeats their motion, that force nonetheless makes them orbit him. This is Krishna's eternal rasa. In that rasa, his girlfriends, who are part of his internal potency, are very near to him. And those who have attained perfection through their spiritual practice are somewhat further away. Krishna's transcendental pastimes reveal the true nature of love. What else can we say about that? Attraction and repulsion. What can we say about that? Meeting and separation. Coming closer, going far. Coming closer, going far. Like a pendulum, you know? So the liberated souls are greatly attracted to Krishna. Does Krishna attract all souls? If so, why are all souls not favorably inclined towards him? Krishna does attract all souls. However, souls are of two kinds, the bound and the liberated. Because liberated souls experience their love clearly and keep it alive, Krishna's force of attraction naturally acts more effectively upon them. Souls in bondage are of two types. The pure love of those who are completely oblivious to Krishna is extremely distorted due to their association with matter. They know nothing but love for objects of enjoyment, and therefore engage in sense gratification day and night, forgetting themselves. They remain engrossed in seeking mundane pleasure. Moreover, on account of their esteem for mundane science, which promotes mundane enjoyment, they remain absorbed in mundane worship. They continuously cheat themselves with statements like, the soul does not exist, deliberating upon the soul is illusory, and any attempt to develop the self is nothing but mental agony. Some cheat themselves of the pleasure of the plane of the soul by engaging in various pious activities with the aim of attaining the happiness of Swarga. Among the souls in bondage, some develop discrimination and renunciation and attain faith in the soul. On the strength of this faith, they experience to some degree the pure attractiveness of Shri Krishna, the son of the spiritual world, and are also drawn towards him. Although they are engaged in various mundane, scientific or pious activities, they enjoy Krishna's association. Chandidas describes their moods. So Chandidas is saying, Kanu is my life, my caste, my treasure, and the pupils of my eyes. He's the beloved within my heart, who in the blink of an eye is lost to my vision. Kanu means Krishna, okay? It's a way of addressing Krishna, it's called Kanu. You are women of respectable family. Serve your husbands, do as you please. After some thought, I see that I have no one but my lover Shyam. What more can you tell me about Dharma and Karma? My mind is not independent. If I am indeed a virtuous woman, then who is that person I long to love? Brahma has made arrangements according to my karma and destiny. O virtuous women, serve your husbands and stay at home with your family. He's speaking in Gopi Bhav here. My wicked elders criticize me, but to me, their criticism is like scented sandalwood paste. Out of my love for Shyam, I have sold this body, placing sesame seeds in a tulsi leaf on it. My wicked neighbors criticize me, but I will not go to their neighborhood. Chandidas says, love for Kanu rejects caste, family, and character. So the soul in this world has forgotten his own identity because he identifies with matter. He forms relationships with various people and behaves towards them in various ways. He identifies himself with the subtle body and has imagined a new body consisting of mind, intelligence, and ego. Because of that relationship with his subtle body, he values psychology and material science, considering them his wealth and consequently becomes deluded. I remember something here. Perhaps you have watched a movie called The Man Who Knew Infinity. Are you aware of that? Anyone aware of that? The Man Who Knew Infinity. This is the story of Ramanujam. Ramanujam was a physicist, Indian physicist, who created many calculus and formulas about the infinite. And he was from South India. He was a Brahmin, and he was religious somehow in that type of common religion. And he began to create and manifest a lot of mathematical calculus to the point that it became like extraordinary. And then finally, he got to show that to send that to England. And the famous mathematician called Hardy, I forgot his first name, but his title is Hardy, invited him to go to England. And there he started to study in Cambridge, if I'm not mistaken, or Oxford, something like that, with that scientist in their very elite group of mathematicians. And then he makes a great success, and he shows like many formulas, amazing things that none of them could have any clue, and which are still today used by the quantum physicists. So that my point is that, to compare with what we're reading here, is that he used to say that, I don't know from where all these things are coming. It must be coming from God. Because he had no foundation from the previous mathematics discoveries which could give base to his calculus. So he was just like manifesting something which was very much developed without even learning basic things. So when he came to the academy, they were like forcing him, prove it from the formulas we already know, prove it from the way science is being paving since centuries. Then we can accept it. And he say, I don't know how it is coming. I just know that it is right and this is correct. And then they used to tell him, okay, we know it is right, but we have to prove it. And he say, I can't. And then this Hardy, he starts to teach him all the basic things from mathematics so that he could prove it and could, bring that to a formal publishing of paper, right? So that's the difference here when Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, those who value psychology and material science more than anything, they are completely deluded. So the thing is, like, God can inspire many things, as well as great science, right? For example, when the British came to India, they were amazed by the level of mathematics there in India. They could never find anything around the world. And of course, they heard since long that the Greeks and the Muslims in general from north of Africa, they were going to learn mathematics in India because mathematics was created in India. It's Vedic. So when they came there, they found amazing, but they noticed that the scientists, like the mathematicians, they were going to some point and stopping. And then they asked them, why don't you develop further? It can be like much more. The science can go so far. And then the answer was, we only develop our science to the extent it serves our religion, to the extent that it keeps us connected with God. Apart from that, we have no desire for science which is not connected with God. and is not going to explain, the ultimate reality. So this is beautiful, right? Of course, you can develop unlimited things in material world. Mathematics can go like ad infinitum, but to which extent is that still connected with what you need to make a relation with God? Because scientists are also religious. Those who are trying to prove God's existence, they are doing religion. They do religion through science. They worship God through mathematics, geometry, physics, chemistry, as just I explained to you these things before, by the movement of the atoms and things. So when science is serving religion, when psychology is serving religion, that is good, it's great. Because definitely God has all these things. In God's creation, science, psychology, everything is there. In Krishna's life itself, it is there. So as long as it is connected with Krishna, it is useful. Apart from that, it is just distraction, not meditation. Everything should be meditation. Meditation means what? Always remembering Krishna. No matter from which way. If you're going to him, you are meditating. But if it's not connected, it's called distraction. It will just inflate your, swell your ego. Oh, I am calculating this much big numbers, 1,000 squares of the cube and this and that, and for what? Just to show your mightiness. But God's creation, it's much more than that. And also something remains as a mystery, of course. Science will never be able to solve everything. And plus, all the laws and formulas they are discovering, it's not created by them. God has created them already. You're just able to read it in the reality. So it is God's grace, not mathematicians geniality. But they are so rooted in false ego that they think I have created such formula. Yes, you have reduced the whole world inside your head, and you have now come out with some solution. And before, the world was unable to function because your formula was not there. Now the world can function properly. So these people are foolish, especially when they say that they don't believe in God, they believe in science, but the source of science is God. Whereas who could be so intelligent to make such formulas and to make such laws in the world? Anyway, we can go on this subject so much. I don't want to divert. Let us come back here. So our time is a little bit, it's just about to finish. We'll take just more 10 minutes. Yes. So, moreover, on account of identifying himself with his gross body, consisting of the 5 elements, he thinks, I am a Bhattacharya, or I am a gentleman. I am Deshi, I am Videshi. And thus he lives a life of abandon. He's sometimes born and he sometimes dies. Sometimes he is unable to contain his joy, and sometimes he is stricken with grief. Glory to this transformation and glory to Maya's games, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying. Sometimes the soul is born as a man and marries a woman, and sometimes he is born as a woman and marries a man, and established for himself a large cycle of worldly concerns. When he enters that cycle, he honors his superiors and takes care of his dependents. He fears the ruler and he hates his enemies. He fears disgrace and criticism when he is born as a woman in a respectable family. He remains far from his true identity when he establishes these false relationships in this world. What a horrible condition the soul endures in such a self-imposed life. Considering the various established rules of this world as his master, he has completely forgotten his eternal master, Krishna. I just want to complement what I said before about Manu and the word man, not to devaluate the presence of women in this process. Although the soul comes from the body of the man, the status, the caste, the woman gives, mother gives. So if father is Brahmin and mother is Kshatriya, baby will be Kshatriya, not Brahmin. If father is Shudra, mother is a Brahmin, baby is Brahmin. So woman also plays actually the greatest role in society because she gives the caste. Okay? So be happy if you are a feminist. Haribol. So now, at this point, a particular mood may arise in relation to Krishna, expressed by Sriman Mahaprabhu in the following verse. Paravya sanini nari vyagrapi griha karmasu tam eva swadayati antar nava sangara sayanam. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 1.211. An unchaste wife internally relishes newer and newer meetings with her lover, even while engaged in her household chores. This kind of prior attraction, purvarag, develops in a soul bound to the rules of this world before pure love for Krishna awakens in him. Eventually, the soul will go for a rendezvous and meet Krishna. Prior attraction appears by hearing about Krishna's nature and qualities, seeing a picture of his transcendental form, remembering his attractiveness, and hearing the sound of his flute. One in whom this prior attraction has appeared meets Krishna by the help of like-minded girlfriends. Gradually, the mutual love between the soul and the supreme enjoyer Shri Krishna, who is the embodiment of eternity, knowledge, and bliss, becomes deep. Now, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has given like a quantum leap. He left the materialists and the scientists. Now he jumped into Purvarag. It's a big jump, right? And now he starts to express how, as a newly born gopi, you will first start listening about Krishna, or maybe see his picture, or hear maybe the flute sound. And that will, awake Purvarag. Purvarag means desire to meet, love, affection, attachment before actually had meeting before. So, and then by the help of like-minded girlfriends, means like-minded gopis, swapaksha gopis, they will help you how to come to Krishna. And this way, your love for Krishna will become deep and deep. Krishna's transcendental pastimes in the spiritual world, Braj, are eternal. The soul is a minute sentient particle and is therefore eligible to participate in those pastimes. When the soul is in bondage, his transcendental identity appears in the illusory form as his subtle and gross bodies. Similarly, the pure love for Krishna that is found within that transcendental identity appears in an illusory form as love for mundane science or mundane objects. So, a perverted reflection of the pure love of the soul that the soul has for Krishna appears towards the material objects like that. That love has origin. In the beginning of the article, he was explaining that. The true love is always related to Krishna somehow. True love is always between soul and Krishna. But as a soul comes in the material world, that love becomes perverted towards the material objects. They are not true love, but because the soul has mistaken his own identity, he considers them to be real love. Actual love, however, is the love that exists between two souls. So in the Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad, we can see this. We can see that it says, when Yagyavalkya's wife Maitreyi became detached from gross and from the gross and the subtle planes, she approached her husband and requested him to give her some instruction. Yagyavalkya replied, "O Maitreyi, a wife does not in fact love her husband for his sake. Rather, in every instance, she does so for her own sake. Similarly, a husband loves his wife only for his own interests. This so-called love for husband, son, wealth, and so on is simply deceit. By completely rejecting this dishonesty, you should worship Bhagavan, the eternal object of love and the soul of all souls, and love him solely for love's own sake. Therefore, one who has become detached from the material world and the subtle body should look at, think of, and inquire about the soul who is the most beloved of the jivas. By that, he will come to know everything." So, the import of his highly authoritative statement of the Vedas is that there is no love on the gross and subtle planes. So this is the conclusion. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has brought us up to this point, making all the line of foundation to say there is no love from gross and subtle planes. Means we cannot have love based on ego, false ego. We can have attraction. Egotical means egoistic attraction for our sense gratification, for our pleasure, for our sake. But real love is only between the soul and Krishna. Whatever semblance of love is found here is experienced only in relation to the soul. The pure soul is transcendental, and the love that exists between souls is pure love. Only that love is worthy of being searched after. Worldly love, or the love that exists between humans, is but a distortion of the soul's love. The love that exists between souls is the only true love. In Srimad Bhagavatam 10:14-55, it is stated, Krishnam menam avehitvam atmanam akilatmanam. Shri Krishna, who possesses 64 excellent attributes, is the soul of all souls. The love that all souls have for Shri Krishna is free from mundane designations and is superlative. Those who have written about psychology and the intricacies of love, without knowing love's true nature, have simply wasted their time, despite all their reasoning, as if mixing ghee into ashes. Out of pride, such persons have simply endeavored for fame. Rather than benefit the world, they have brought it great misfortune. Brothers, stop listening to those people's grandiloquent talk and develop pure attachment for the soul, thus making your soul's nature shine by experiencing that love which is free from designations. So very beautiful. This is the end of the article by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. The final message is, don't waste your time with this mundane society, with these people who are trying to give you distraction, pointing out to so many ways of pseudo self-realization and sensory pleasure and fake love. Nowadays, we're speaking a lot about fake news and fake this, fake that. But the greatest fake thing is the fake love that we are trying to experiment and live in this world, and that we cannot. That's the greatest danger. And because of that, people are going to war. And people are doing like terrible things, all in name of this fake love. Love for nation, love for people, love for tradition, love for um, social welfare, love for, their owns, their like parents, relatives, sons, whatever. So Hare Krishna. I'm going to stop here then.